Hey guys, thanks for checking out this video. Today I'm going to make a PvP tier list. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And today when I make this list, I'm going to consider all different levels, right? But mainly, I'm considering the top level, right? If you have your cookie maxed out, how good is your cookie compared to the rest? I play in the top 500 in Arena a lot. I see what the current meta cookies are. But you know what? I'm also going to consider if you're just starting out or if you're middle, I might give you some tips on what cookies are good there too. But for the most part, this is a tier list for how good the cookies are if you have them leveled up to level 50, level 60, 3 stars or more, how they compare to the rest of the cookies on this list. So let's get started. I'm going to start off with Hollyberry. Hollyberry, definitely SS tier. My SS tier list are going to be the cookies that are used in over half the meta teams. So most of the meta top tier, top 1000, top 2000 teams use these cookies. Hollyberry, by far, the most used tank in the game. There's 2 common tanks. I'll talk about the next one when I get to that tank. But Hollyberry is absolutely fantastic. Has that damage, focus, protection on your team and is extremely tanky. Even at 2 stars, you're talking over 180,000 hit plus a ton of defense. So huge survivability on Hollyberry. Next one on the list is Pure Vanilla Cookie. Also SS tier. What makes Pure Vanilla Cookie so good is it's not just the heal on Pure Vanilla Cookie provides, it is the HP shield. The HP shield lasts for 3 seconds and takes a ton of damage. That's damage that if you're using a healer like Herb, gets applied to your team. And now, for the most part, if you have a high level Pure Vanilla Cookie, that shield is going to take a ton of the damage, most of the damage, especially if you get hit by like a Sea Fairy. You're absorbing it with that shield. It's keeping your team alive a lot longer. Pure Vanilla Cookie, if you have this cookie, is the cookie that you want to use as your healer on the team. Sea Fairy, another SS tier team, almost used by every single team in the arena if you have Sea Fairy. That is how good Sea Fairy is. Sea Fairy is completely meta. Sea Fairy gives you that 3-second stun, plus does huge damage. Even speed teams are starting to use Sea Fairy more often. Now, where you won't see Sea Fairy is there are speed teams that don't use Sea Fairy if they're using like Lilac Cookie, if they're using Pastry, Madeleine Cookie, Mint Cookie. You know, there's different combinations where you might not use Sea Fairy because you're just trying to hit hard. Almond Cookie, right? That could be a 5-person lineup. But for the most part, Sea Fairy is used on every team at this point. Almond Cookie is SS tier. Here's what. There's so many different comps that use Almond Cookie, and this cookie is used by a lot of the top teams still, right? You're going to get hit by stun comps constantly in the arena, and that's because Almond Cookie allows that team to do huge damage. You're going to get hit by rhyming comps, and rhyming comps are when you use Rye and Almond together. And I still see that a lot, even in the top 200, top 100 teams, they're used in the rhyming comp. That's how good Almond is. And there are a ton of different combinations you can use with Almond. So definitely an SS tier cookie in the arena. Wow, Chili Pepper, C, just not used at all. Another cookie, just not used at all in the arena. One day I'd like to get this cookie leveled up, but the attack is just not that much. The healing is just not that much. You're going to have better cookies to use. Dark Choco. Dark Choco is an A tier cookie. Dark Choco, if you don't have a lot of other tanks, if you're just starting out, or if you're kind of in that mid tier of the game, Dark Choco is a good cookie to use because it reduces the defense of the opponent cookies by 20%. So it's going to allow your cookies to do more damage, and he'll absorb some of that damage as a frontline tank. But if you have other tanks, there are a lot of other tanks in the game that are better than Dark Choco. Use those tanks, and I'm going to go over them. So if you have any of the tanks that are in S tier or SS tier, use those tanks instead of Dark Choco. Black Raisin. Black Raisin is very hard to determine which tier. I'm going to put Black Raisin. She is still an excellent cookie. I'm going to have to say S tier. But I still see her used a ton, even in the top 500. The reason she's used is because if you use her in a combination with like Sea Fairy, Black Raisin, and then another midline attacker, you can put a lot of damage down on that midline group. So you can take out that Sea Fairy early. If you take out the opposing Sea Fairy early, right, you are going to win that battle because their Sea Fairy is not going to be able to stun you and do that huge damage. So I'd say right now, S tier for Black Raisin. Very, very close to SS tier, but not used as much anymore because there's other damage dealers that are slightly better. Expresso is B tier. Expresso is just not used that much very often. If you don't have any mid-tier, middle fighter damage dealers, you can use Expresso Cookie, but there's going to be a lot of cookies on this list that are just better than Expresso Cookie at this point. Fig Cookie, C, don't use it. Herb Cookie, A. So, you're going to use Herb Cookie if you don't have some of the better healers. If you don't have Pure Vanilla Cookie, you might use Herb. If you don't have another cookie like Parfait Cookie or even Mint, you might use Herb. But there's definitely cookies that are ranked higher than Herb Cookie. So use Herb Cookie if you don't have better healers. That's why Herb Cookie's in A. But once you get better healers, you'll never really use Herb Cookie. Camino, B. So there's that transformation ability that allows certain kind of like avoidance of special skills once in a while that can be useful. But for the most part, this isn't a tank that you're going to use a lot. Now, Latte Cookie is a pretty good cookie. I'm going to say A tier. Latte Cookie is used in occasion in the top 1000, top 500, and used a ton in the diamond type tier of arena. And the reason why is because Latte has that ability to silence skills. So if you put Latte in there and you can silence the opponent's skills and you do another attacker, so if you do Latte and you do Black Raisin and Sea Fairy, right, that's a lot of damage you're applying to the other team. So Latte can work well in some comps. Licorice, I'm gonna say Licorice is S tier. Licorice is used in a lot of defensive lineups. There are certain units, if you're using like the Sorbet Shark, Black Raisin, Sea Fairy, Licorice, and then Pure Vanilla comp, right? That's more of a offensive unit, but you throw in Licorice because Licorice provides the minions. Also, you can use Licorice in a lot of counter stun teams, so you'll find the stun teams with Tiger Lily jumping in, and you can use Licorice to put the minions out there to kind of hold off Tiger Lily. Licorice is used in a lot of different scenarios. I even see Licorice used in the double tank with Hollyberry and Strawberry Crepe, and then you'll see Sea Fairy, Licorice, and Pure Vanilla, and that's just for like the defensive capacity and ability that Licorice has. Licorice is still surprisingly good in arena. Madeleine Cookie, S tier. Madeleine Cookie is kind of the main damage dealer in the speed comps. Between Madeleine and Pastry, that's where most of your damage is coming from. Still very good in the speed comp. Still used a ton even in the higher tiers. Mango Cookie, I will put in the B tier. Mango Cookie is in the B tier just because Mango is used in very specific comps. Just once in a while you'll see Mango Cookie used in a stun comp. Sometimes Mango Cookie is used in general comps, but for the most part, Mango and Expresso are very comparable damage-wise. Not a game changer. Milk Cookie, B tier. If you don't have better tanks, you can use Milk Cookie. Milk Cookie puts up that shield that absorbs some damage. But the problem with Milk Cookie is Milk Cookie isn't as tanky as, say, a Hollyberry, which does a similar thing. Mint Cookie, I would say S tier. Mint Cookie is used a lot in speed comps. If you're using it in speed comps, you're going to use Mint Cookie because Mint Cookie does that plus 40% speed boost to the entire team. Plus, the awesome thing about Mint Cookie as a healer, as opposed to some of these other cookies like Herb and Parfait Cookie, is Mint Cookie does a instant heal, right? It's not one of those Parfait Cookies heal every couple, like once every second. Mint Cookie is going to give you a big burst of healing, and sometimes when you're about to die and you get Mint Cookie giving you that heal, that is going to save you, right? Because Mint Cookie heals a decent amount. Plus, Mint Cookie also increases the healing output from a cookie like Pure Vanilla. Pure Vanilla's attack is a heal. So, you increase that attack speed, right? Pure Vanilla Cookie is going to heal more. So, Mint Cookie is a very versatile cookie. I'd say Parfait Cookie is also S tier. Parfait Cookie is used in a lot of comps. Used a lot in the top 1000 of Arena. Used a lot at every level. Overall, as a healer, Parfait Cookie heals as much as everyone, but it's over time, right? It's not an instant heal. Plus, there is that ability to get out of the Sea Fairy stun quicker, which is super helpful. And Parfait is used, like I said, a lot in top 1000 Arena. So Pastry Cookie, I'd say A tier. Pastry Cookie is used sometimes in speed comps, not always. Pastry Cookie is pretty good, really good in speed comps, doing a ton of damage, but is also a kind of like glass cannon, dies pretty easily. So I would say Parfait Cookie is an A cookie because Parfait is used sometimes in speed comps, but not always. I see a lot of speed comps that replace Parfait Cookie. Poison Mushroom, C, just don't use Poison Mushroom in Arena. Pomegranate is a B cookie. The healing is just not a lot. Pomegranate does give you that attack boost, but it's not a big difference maker in Arena. Yam Cookie, I would say in B tier. Yam Cookie doesn't really give you any defense, and for a tank, you want some defensive ability, unless the other ability that tank gives you is just worthwhile. It's like a super awesome ability. But the ability that Yam Cookie gives you is just kind of like this area of effect damage, so it's not that great. Raspberry Cookie, A tier. S tier. Raspberry Cookie does great single target damage, plus Raspberry Cookie will attack the unit with the highest attack on the other team, which is usually Sea Fairy or Black Raisin, and reduce their damage output by 40%. So, as a tank, as a frontline fighter, Raspberry is actually quite tanky because she's reducing that attack by your opponent's strongest attacker by 40%, which makes a big difference. Another note, when you're using a comp like Triple Tank, which is Hollyberry, Strawberry Crepe, Raspberry Cookie, and then Sea Fairy and a healer, she works well as a mid-line fighter. So she's not always on the front line. And in Triple Tank, she's a mid-line fighter, and she's there just to focus on that Sea Fairy on the opposing team and getting that Sea Fairy out. And in Triple Tank comp, you're getting the defensive skill from Strawberry Crepe, you're getting a defensive skill from Hollyberry, plus you're getting that 40% attack reduction from Raspberry. It's a lethal comp, and Raspberry is good in many comps, not just that comp. Red Velvet. I'm going to say Red Velvet is A tier. The reason why is I still see Red Velvet used, sometimes in top 500, top 1000, and Red Velvet has that skill where Red Velvet can pull one of the backline characters to the front and stun that character for 5 seconds. 5 seconds is a long time to be stunned. Now Red Velvet's pulling the backline healer. That healer is not able to heal the team, so you're able to do some good damage on that team before the heal gets off. So, Red Velvet, pretty good in PvP. I don't think Red Velvet's going anywhere. I think when new cookies come back in, Red Velvet might get added to new and different combinations. Red Velvet is a very interesting cookie to use, a really fun cookie to use. Rye Cookie, S tier. Rye Cookie is a very good cookie, used in a lot of different comps. I already talked about Ryeman, so there's the Rye Almond comp that does a ton of damage and used a ton in top 1000, top 500. But there's also new comps popping up that are being used with Rye, and that's the Tiger Lily Rye comp. So what you see is, you'll see like a Gingerbrave, Hollyberry frontline with Sea Fairy, and then you have Tiger Lily and Rye, because Rye does so much damage that Rye will just pick off the opponent's cookies one at a time. Huge damage from Rye, which makes Rye super valuable. Snow Sugar, nope. Got that update. Snow Sugar, still not good. Sorbet Shark. I'm going to put Sorbet Shark in SS tier. Sorbet Shark is used by, I would say, over half the teams in the top 1000 right now, top 500. What makes Sorbet Shark so good is Sorbet Shark does that percentage of health damage, right? So I forget the exact number, it's like 30% or something of the total health. So when you are using Sorbet Shark and it hits that frontline tank, it hits a tank like Hollyberry Cookie in the arena, you look at that damage, and sometimes that damage is 300,000 plus. Huge damage from Sorbet Shark. No one else is doing that kind of damage to the frontline tanks. That's why Sorbet Shark is still super important. Sparkling Cookie. starting to be used in speed comps. Some other fun creative comps that I'm starting to see. Just a really good cookie to use because that crit boost that Sparkling Cookie gives on top of the additional healing that you get. Squid Ink, S tier. Squid Ink's being used a ton and in all kinds of different combinations. You'll see Squid Ink, Sea Fairy, and just regular combinations. You'll see Squid Ink with Werewolf. You'll see Squid Ink with Mala Cookie. Squid Ink just does so much damage to the overall team. It's hard to keep up with the amount of damage that Squid Ink can do. Surprisingly good cookie. Very underrated cookie that you don't hear as much about, but a cookie that can really light your team up. And sometimes I'll see a team and I'm like, oh, Squid Ink Cookie, nothing to worry about. I go into that fight, I get lit up, my team's dead before I even knew what happened. Strawberry Crepe has to go in SS tier right now. Slightly below Hollyberry in the order of how good are these tanks, but still SS tier. You're going to see triple comp tanks like I was talking about with Strawberry Crepe, Hollyberry, Raspberry being used all the time. And then you're going to see the double tanks. And the double tank is one of the most common tanks. Maybe the most normal or most standard comp that you're going to see in the arena right now, which is Hollyberry, Strawberry Crepe, Sea Fairy, Sorbet Shark, and Pure Vanilla. That's probably the #1 comp used in the entire arena, and definitely used in the top 1000. And it's because of that Strawberry Crepe plus 50% damage resist to 2 cookies skill, plus the pushback. Strawberry Crepe is still an excellent tank, by far one of the best tanks in the entire game. Alright, Tiger Lily, S tier. Tiger Lily is used in a ton of comps. You'll see comps like Hollyberry, Sea Fairy, Sorbet Shark, and then a backline of Pure Vanilla and Tiger Lily. And why is Tiger Lily used? Because Tiger Lily can hit the frontline tanks, stun them so they don't put up the damage protection, and your team can do a ton of damage. And then there's the Tiger Lily comps where you just see her used in the speed comps. She is used a ton. Tiger Lily is an excellent cookie, one of the best cookies in the game. If there was a tier between SS and S on my list, I will put Tiger Lily there. So I'm going to move Tiger Lily all the way to the left, almost in that SS tier. That's how good Tiger Lily is in this game. I'm going to say Vamp A tier. This is specifically because at the lower levels, not necessarily Master, you don't really see Vamp used in Master anymore, but when you're talking about Diamond and Crystal Leagues, Vamp is awesome because Vamp, if you have your Vamp leveled up high enough, and you should be leveling up Vamp because the guild battle, Vamp will be able to take out the backline healer, and that will win you a lot of battles. So Vamp at the lower levels is an excellent cookie. Werewolf Cookie, B. There are some comps, like I tried out that Werewolf Squid Ink comp. That Werewolf's decent at, not quite C tier, but definitely not A tier. Lilac Cookie, I'm going to put Lilac Cookie here at A tier. Just being because Lilac Cookie is really only good in speed comp, no other comps, so there's not much versatility there. But if you're using speed comp, you definitely want to use Lilac Cookie and get him leveled. Moon Rabbit Cookie, A tier. There are a lot of comps that use Moon Rabbit Cookie, especially higher up in the arena. You'll see Hollyberry Moon Rabbit with the Sorbet, Sea Fairy, Pure Vanilla Cookie. The reason is Moon Rabbit can do a ton of damage and vanishes, so Moon Rabbit avoids attacks. And there's also a lot of stun comps that use Moon Rabbit. Moon Rabbit is very good in stun comps. Mala Cookie, I'm going to say S tier. There are a lot of comps right now that are using Mala Cookie. I see the Mala Cookie Squid Ink comp. I see just regular Hollyberry Mala Cookie with the Sorbet, Sea Fairy, and Pure Vanilla combination, because Mala Cookie can lay down that burn damage plus give you that additional crit 25% to 2 of the cookies, which is super helpful in the higher level arena levels when you are trying to do just that tiniest bit more of damage that differentiates you from a win and a loss. You'll be surprised, the higher you get up in the arena, it sometimes comes down to the smallest sliver of life left. And you have a Mala Cookie in there and increase that crit percentage can make a huge difference for your team. Alright, Twizzly Cookie, I'm going to say S tier. Here's my opinion on Twizzly Cookie. If you build Twizzly Cookie right, Twizzly Cookie is by far definitely an SS tier cookie. Does huge damage, takes away that HP shield from Pure Vanilla Cookie, and I'm just picking on double and triple teams and winning easily with Twizzly Cookie because of that. And I will say the reason why Twizzly Cookie is not in SS tier and only in S tier is because Twizzly Cookie is hard to build. Not a lot of us have been using crit toppings. We don't have a lot of good crit toppings. You gotta go full crit. Plus, when you go full crit, you're gonna have to have over 15% damage resist at least. You're gonna wanna get that cooldown to like 5-6%. Twizzly Cookie is a little bit harder to build and more dependent on having the right build. That's why Twizzly Cookie's in only S tier. But if you can get the right toppings on Twizzly Cookie and build her up, she is definitely an SS tier worthy cookie. Alright, Gingerbrave, I'm gonna say S tier. Reason why, Gingerbrave's used a ton and Gingerbrave's the only common or rare cookie I'm going to include in this list just because Gingerbrave is used that often. Gingerbrave is used in the stunt comps, obviously. There are so many just Gingerbrave Tiger Lily comps that I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of comps that look like Gingerbrave, Hollyberry, and then you got Sea Fairy in the middle, and then you have Pure Vanilla and Tiger Lily, and they can just wreck a team because they stop you from putting up your damage protection. They stop you from getting healed, right? Because Gingerbrave is going to hit the frontline tank back to the middle row. It's going to allow your Tiger Lily to jump in and stun the entire team for 3 seconds. Add in the Sea Fairy stun, and your team's just getting stunned non-stop while they're just crushing you and doing insane damage on you. So Gingerbrave is definitely an S tier cookie. This is my list. Let me know what you think. I appreciate all the feedback. Appreciate all the support. Thanks for checking out this video.